Breaking news. Newlyweds arguing? Why did Dara and Jung Il-woo clash right after the wedding? What could have possibly gone wrong on what was supposed to be the happiest day of their lives? Secrets, whispers, and shocking revelations, tonight. Red Carpet Revealed uncovers the untold story. Let's find out together, right now. The ballroom sparkled under 1,000 golden lights, the scent of fresh peonies and roses filling the air as the orchestra played a gentle waltz. Cameras flashed endlessly while guests gasped in admiration at the vision of Dara in her stunning lace gown, walking arm in arm with Jung Il-woo in his tailored tuxedo. To the world, it looked like the perfect wedding, one for the history books, a union of two beloved stars. But somewhere between the glittering champagne flutes and the polite applause, something had already gone wrong. From the moment they stepped onto the aisle, a few sharp-eyed guests noticed subtle tells. Jung Il-woo's jaw was tight, his smile never quite reaching his eyes. Dara's hands, encased in delicate white gloves, trembled slightly as she adjusted her veil. When the officiant declared them husband and wife, they kissed, yes, but even that felt rehearsed, her lips barely brushing his as cameras captured every angle. One bridesmaid, seated close enough to hear, later whispered to a reporter, he muttered something to her just before the vows. Her face changed completely, but then she forced a smile. It was chilling. After the ceremony, the reception began with all the grandeur one would expect of such a high-profile couple. Waiters glided across the polished floors, serving crystal glasses of champagne. Guests took turns congratulating the bride and groom, who dutifully posed for photos and accepted their blessings. But in between the smiling and nodding, something else was simmering beneath the surface. At one point during dinner, when the bride and groom were seated at the head table, a few witnesses reported hearing Dara hiss something to Jung Il-woo through clenched teeth. His response was a low whisper that silenced her. A guest seated nearby said, "We could feel the tension radiating from them." It was impossible to ignore. Later, as the couple moved from table to table greeting guests, there were more signs. Dara accidentally dropped her bouquet. Jung Il-woo didn't even flinch to help her. He turned away as she bent down to pick it up herself. When one of the groomsmen joked about the happy couple, Dara's laugh sounded brittle, and Jung Il-woo simply tightened his grip on his wine glass. Then came the toast. As the best man spoke about love and trust, Dara's expression hardened. She sipped her drink, eyes fixed somewhere beyond the ballroom walls. When Jung Il-woo leaned in to whisper something, she pulled back slightly, her smile frozen. But the real drama unfolded just as the reception was winding down. Around midnight, when many guests had already left and the dance floor was nearly empty, Dara slipped out through the side doors. Several guests assumed she was heading to freshen up or take a private call. But then a waiter noticed Jung Il-woo following her, his pace brisk, his face dark. Out in the garden, under the cover of moonlight and shadow, voices were raised. A staff member who happened to be taking a break outside reported hearing harsh words. "You promised me this wouldn't happen," Dara cried. "And you promised you'd be honest," Jung Il-woo shot back. At one point, according to that witness, Dara's voice cracked as she said, "If you really cared, you wouldn't have done this." And then she walked away, her gown sweeping across the damp grass. Jung Il-woo remained standing there, fists clenched at his sides, his expression unreadable. Back inside, whispers flew among the remaining guests. A bridesmaid tried to distract the crowd by calling for another toast, but the atmosphere had changed. The fairy tale was cracking, right before everyone's eyes. Minutes later, Jung Il-woo returned alone, his bow tie undone, his hair slightly mussed. He did not return. The guests began exchanging nervous glances, pretending not to notice as the groom sat back down and stared blankly at the tablecloth. Sometime after that, a paparazzi stationed outside the hotel managed to snap a photo of Dara stepping into a black car, her makeup streaked, her veil clutched tightly in her hands. Behind her, through the glass doors of the hotel, Jung Il-woo could be seen watching her leave. By the next morning, the story had already exploded online. Fan forums buzzed with theories, hashtags like #newlywed drama and #what happened to Dara and Il-woo trending within hours. Headlines screamed about the mysterious fight, dissecting every detail from the rehearsal dinner to the last dance. Yet neither Dara nor Jung Il-woo made any public statement. Their agencies released identical, Carefully worded messages: "We ask for understanding and privacy as the couple enjoys their first days as husband and wife." But the tone felt forced, almost hollow. For now, all anyone could do was speculate. The beautiful wedding photos plastered across magazines now seemed like cruel jokes, hiding the storm that had already begun to brew. Guests who had attended the wedding described an undercurrent of unease that grew stronger as the night wore on. One guest said, "It was like watching a play where everyone knew their lines but forgot their emotions." The smiles were there, but the warmth was gone. As dawn broke over the city, the hotel staff quietly cleared away the last of the decorations. Confetti littered the ground, the faint scent of roses lingered in the air, and somewhere, in a room behind closed doors, Dara and Jung were left to face the aftermath of their fractured beginning. What really happened in the shadows of that perfect wedding night? What words were exchanged under the moonlight that could fracture such a beautiful facade? In the next part of our investigation, Red Carpet Revealed delves deeper into the shocking secrets and revelations that turned a fairy tale wedding into a nightmare. The morning after the wedding, Seoul woke up to a storm that wasn't just on the weather forecast. Headlines screamed in bold letters about the argument that rocked the glamorous union of Dara and Jung Il-woo. Photos of Dara wiping away tears in the backseat of a black car, Jung Il-woo standing under the hotel portico with his tie undone and his hands buried in his pockets, were splashed across every gossip site. First, the narrative was simple: a heated exchange between two exhausted newlyweds. But as more details leaked, cracks in the perfect facade became impossible to ignore. By mid-morning, a series of text messages, allegedly between Dara and a close friend, circulated online. One read, "I don't know how to go through with this if he keeps lying to me." Another said, "This is not what I signed up for. Not like this." Neither party confirmed the authenticity of the messages, but they set off a wave of speculation. Who had lied? And about what? Meanwhile, a member of the hotel staff who requested anonymity told Red Carpet Revealed that the fight began much earlier than anyone realized. During the rehearsal dinner the night before, they barely spoke to each other. She looked nervous. He looked frustrated. Everyone kept pretending not to notice. One bridesmaid described a chilling moment during the rehearsal when Jung Il-woo had leaned in close to Dara and whispered something sharp enough to drain the color from her cheeks. Her hands started shaking after that, but she just nodded and went on like nothing happened. After the ceremony, when Dara had walked out into the garden and the fight escalated, a hidden security camera picked up fragments of their conversation. The leaked footage, though grainy and low quality, captured Jung Il-woo gesturing wildly, his voice raised, while Dara clutched her veil in one hand, her eyes blazing. "You said you'd tell me before the wedding," she shouted at him. "And ruin everything?" "You know I couldn't," he shot back. "You ruined it anyway," she said quietly. Turned and began to walk away. The video ended with him standing alone in the garden, chest rising and falling, his hands hanging helplessly at his sides. Theories multiplied overnight. Some claimed there was another woman involved. Others speculated it was about money. Rumors of a hidden prenup clause floated around. Still others insisted it had nothing to do with external factors, that the marriage itself had been rushed. A decision made under pressure from their respective families and management companies. One of Dara's close friends broke her silence in an exclusive interview. She had doubts even before they got engaged. She felt trapped. Everyone was watching. Everyone wanted the fairy tale. And Dara doesn't like to disappoint people. At the same time, a childhood friend of Jung Il-woo painted a different picture. Il-woo has always been private, even secretive. He carries things alone, and he doesn't let people in easily. But he's not a bad person. He just didn't know how to be honest with her. As the hours turned into days, the couple remained silent. Rotsi staked out their home, hoping for a glimpse of reconciliation, or confirmation of a split. A luxury car was seen leaving their shared apartment late at night, with tinted windows and no clear sign of who was inside. Fans flooded social media with messages of support and heartbreak. The hashtags #StayStrongDara and #GiveThemPrivacy trended simultaneously, as public opinion fractured into factions: those who defended her, those who defended him, and those who simply mourned the loss of the perfect love story they thought they'd witnessed. Then, on the third night after the wedding, another twist. A second video surfaced, this one reportedly from the hotel's security cameras on a different angle. This time, the footage showed what happened before the outdoor argument. In the hallway, moments before Dara stormed into the garden, she stopped abruptly and turned toward Jung Il-woo. Voice, though muffled, was full of anguish. "If you're hiding something from me now, I'll find out. I swear." He froze. Then lowered his head. "I never wanted to hurt you," he muttered. This revelation ignited a fresh wave of speculation. Some commentators argued that Jung Il-woo must have concealed a major secret, something big enough to shatter her trust in front of hundreds of guests. Others suggested Dara had discovered the truth during the wedding itself. Whatever it was, the silence from both camps only added fuel to the fire. In the meantime, reporters unearthed more pieces of the puzzle. One insider claimed that Dara had received an anonymous envelope on the morning of her wedding, containing photographs and documents she refused to show anyone. Another source alleged that Jung Il-woo had met privately with someone in the days leading up to the wedding, a meeting caught on camera but never explained. Tension reached its peak during what was supposed to be their honeymoon. They were expected to fly to the Maldives the morning after the wedding, but neither was seen boarding any flight. Their luggage was delivered back to their apartment the next day. Finally, a week after the wedding, Jung Il-woo broke his silence. At a press conference hastily arranged at a quiet cafe in Seoul, he stood before reporters, looking visibly worn and pale. He took a deep breath before speaking. "I know many of you have questions," he began. "I don't blame you. I can only say that I made mistakes. I should have been honest. But I believed, perhaps foolishly, that I could protect her by keeping certain things to myself." He did not elaborate on what those things were. When pressed, he only repeated, "She deserved the truth. I failed her." "That's all I can say." When asked about the state of their marriage, he paused before answering, "That is something between Dara and me. I ask for your understanding." As he left, flashes from the cameras reflected off his tear-streaked face. Reporters called out, but he did not look back. That same night, a handwritten note appeared on Dara's official social media account. It read simply, "I thought love was enough. Maybe it still can be. But not like this. Please allow us time." And just like that, the world was left with more questions than answers. The ballroom where their fairy tale had begun now stood empty, the flowers wilted, the lights dark. A white ribbon fluttered in the breeze at the hotel entrance. Inscribed with words that now felt both beautiful and tragic, "Forever starts today." For many, the image of Jung Il-woo standing alone in the garden, fists clenched under the moonlight, and Dara disappearing into a black car remains burned into memory. Was it the beginning of the end? Or just the beginning of something neither of them, or the rest of us, fully understood? In the end, the only thing certain is this: not all love stories end with a happily ever after. Some end with whispers in the dark, unanswered questions, and a silence louder than any